Thank you so much, Harbinder, for this wonderful introduction. And thank you so much for inviting me to this forum. It was nice that we were having this conversation a few days ago in our usual meeting, regular meeting. And it was nice to discuss that how we can make a difference. And yes, when like-minded people meet and talk about making a difference, things happen. And that's how this particular event, this particular session which we are doing today happened. And we discussed that, and this is where we both I would say gel together. And I said I want to make a difference one business owner at a time, and he said, you know what, this is what I do. And that is how we got going. Okay, let's do something around it. And here you go, we are here at this particular session. And I am going to be talking about marketing. And I'm going to now share my presentation. The presentation is just about an hour. I will try to finish it in an hour, but I will actually talk to you about few strategies on marketing effectiveness. And of course, this after that will not be a one-sided session. I would be happy to take any questions which you may have related to that. But some of the factors, some of the things which you would see here, you may have actually gone through, but many of these things will give you at least a thought to think about that. How do you really need to look at marketing in the light of or totality of your business? I have spent about 21 years now working along with multinationals. There are some top clients in multinational companies I've had as my customers. And over the past, I would say it was only about 7-8 years ago, or primarily 5-6 years ago, that's when I started realizing, where I was actually realizing myself that these SMEs needed a more of an emphasis on how do they really market themselves. Bigger companies, yes, they are doing well. They have a lot of firepower, I would say, right? They have talent to do things. But it is these SMEs who suffer. The SMEs as business owners, or let's say an organization which is from 5 CR to 100 CR, limited resources in terms of how do they really need to pitch. And that is where they start feeling challenges. I would say a company who's just starting up also has to do a lot of things on their own. And marketing is one thing, unfortunately, which everyone wants to do, but in the wake of a lot of other things which they are doing, gets neglected. And my today's session is actually going to be addressing some of these challenges which you need to look at. And if you just see basic concepts around marketing, you will see that you can still make a lot of difference. Just get the basics right onto the marketing. So that is how we're going to start the session. And as we always do, and as I always request, keep your phones. It's about your business development. It's about your business growth. So if for an hour you can keep your phones on a silent mode or slightly away, I'm sure nothing is going to go. As long as there's no emergency, please try not to pick the phone. And leave a message on the chat box if you want, so that question on the chat box in case you feel that it is important and you do not forget. Or otherwise, we will be taking questions. It's always good that you keep a notebook next to you. I always do that even when I am training, frankly, because a lot of times I get ideas while I'm training. And I make a note of that because I know I need to include that in my next presentation. But I would sincerely request that you should do that. And if from this presentation, not much, I don't expect you to take tons of notes. If from this presentation, you can get just one idea to do differently in your business, I've done my bit in this particular session. That's what I believe, right? So let's go ahead and what we're going to talk about. We're going to be first starting up with looking at the difference between marketing and branding, and what are these two things. Very briefly, we'll look at. And then straight away, we'll look at the importance of branding and then jump into marketing. Why marketing is important. The 3 types of people to communicate with. Who are the 3 people you need to communicate with? Only 3 people, I would say, you need to communicate in business. The 5 laws of marketing, which are critical for your business. There are many laws of marketing, but what are the 5 laws which are super critical for your business? What are the 6 channels of marketing for small business owners? And what are the ways of winning customers? Followed by how to really find the balance in marketing. So this is what we're going to be, talking about in the next 1 hour. And I would straight away start talking about the brand and the marketing, right? Branding and marketing. Both of these actually go hand in hand, right? The brand is the makeup of of somebody. You go to a particular event or a function, you make up, right? You're making up. That's how you also make up your company. It has to look good. It has to have a nice logo. It has to have a nice visuals and the brochures, how it is presented, right? And then the marketing is, how do you really say to the people? What do you really say to the people after you have kind of done a nice makeup of it, right? So this is how your branding and marketing always go hand in hand, right? So your first target in any business, if I talk about, is to brand yourself really, really well. Whatever you say, you need to look good, right? That is very, very critical. So let's see how people perceive your brand, right? It is actually the personality of your business. That's what is very, very important. Your brand gets you recognition. Once people identify your brand, or they identify with your brand for that matter, it increases brand loyalty, right? Needless to say, it generates new customers for you. And it eventually, the brand itself, having a brand value, also stimulates more and more referrals. And let me tell you, if you slowly create a brand of your own, it also helps you charge a premium over the others. You see so many brands charge what kind of premium? It is the brand value. And let me tell you the other side of it. If your employees are working with a brand, or if they feel they are working with a brand, right? They feel proud and they're satisfied by working with it, right? So it is very, very critical that you actually every time build a brand. Harbinder talks about building a personal brand. It is very, very important. So you need to build your own personal brand, as well as the brand, your company's brand image always has to go forward and up. That's very, very critical. Right? Let's talk about marketing now, right? Marketing, if I define marketing, it is actually the action or business of promoting and selling products or services, right? Including market research, advertising, and all these factors, right? So let's talk about why 5 reasons that marketing is important. Marketing actually helps you stand out. Continuous marketing builds authority. Once you are talking regularly, once you are there in all the channels, it's slowly and slowly, when people know about you, it builds authority for you. And this authority and standing out eventually builds trust. You appear as a trustworthy brand, right? And this way, you can actually, then once you are a trustworthy brand, it also, once you do market regularly, it also helps you reach the right kind of audience, right? And I will tell you what are the right kind of audience and how to really reach them. All these factors actually convert into the next step in the process, which is actually selling, right? So when you market, it helps you sell. So that is how the marketing and the sales marry, right? This is what the process is, right? So I want to start with a story. And how many of you have actually played a casino machine? Raise your hands or put a yes in the chat box. It would be nice. I cannot incidentally see all the faces, but it'll be nice if you can put a yes in the chat box. That'll be great, right? A lot of us have played this casino machine. And what do you do? What happens in the casino machine? You actually play it, you pull the lever, put a dollar in it, keep playing for a long time, sometime, and in the hope that you'll hit a jackpot or some number which gets you the money back, right? And you know what will happen? After some time, it does happen. The process of, after some tries, you will get some cents out. You will get some cents back, right? And you suddenly realize, oh, it is working. It is nice. This is good. It seems to be working. And then you put another dollar, right? And another dollar. And by the time you've actually finished your day, you realize you're already $100 short. And what have you got is nothing, right? Incidentally, our marketing, a lot of people, our marketing also works this way. Or we try to work the marketing out this way, where we keep putting money into something, in a process, in a function, thinking that this is going to work. This is going to work. Oh, this will work. This will work. And sometimes you do get a response, thinking, wow, it is working. Let me put some more money in it. Maybe I'll get more response, right? But what happens is it exactly works like the casino machine, that after a long time, when you've spent a lot of money, you realize that you've already spent so much and the return ROI is actually nothing compared to what you have spent, right? In our businesses, with all the businesses we're talking about, in our businesses, we do not need a casino machine. We actually need a ATM machine. What do you do with the ATM machine? Every time you put a card in it, whatever you've said, it comes out, right? You put a money, I need a receipt. I need to check my balance. It will come out. I need money out of it, right? It will come out. You put an action, do an action, exactly the same thing comes out. So your marketing has to be like an ATM machine and not like a casino machine. Every time you have an action specified, it will give you a return, an ROI. And that is what you need to look at. So next time onwards, whenever you are going to, or you think about marketing, think whether this marketing strategy for me is going to be a casino machine or an ATM machine, right? Very, very critical in any business. You have to start with that. And then marketing, as I said, is all about the trust. If people trust you, they will reach out to you. They will think that you are an expert in any domain, whatever it is, and they will do business with you, right? And I want to now talk about the 3 people which are critical to be reached out in any business. And this is where, when I say, usually there has been a lot of business owners I have worked with, they have just one thought, one kind of a communication which they create for everybody, right? And they think that I will just set out that communication to everybody. They have created one sales letter. They have created one profile. They have created a single kind of a graphic which they need to send it to people, right? And the moment they get somebody, they send it out to everybody. They think that one size fits all, one kind of communication will be okay for everybody. But that is where the problem is. And that is when it's a casino machine strategy. When they do not get a response, they feel what is happening. I am communicating regularly. My frequency is almost every day of reaching, but why am I not getting a response? Your response you're not getting is because you are talking about a casino machine strategy. Now, what is the ATM machine strategy in this case is something we talk about. First thing what you need to look at is you need to look at the 3 kinds of people which you need to reach out. And that is very, very critical in any marketing strategy, right? Now, who are these 3 kinds of people? The first kind of people are actually your prospects, right? Now, let me tell you, a lot of us, till a long time, I also used to confuse these two things, prospects and leads, right? Invariably, you will sometimes call them as prospects, sometimes you will call them as leads, right? But there is a big difference. Prospects are a set of people who are your potential customers, whom you think are your potential customers, but they probably do not know you yet, or they do not know you yet. And you also know about them, but you are not in connect with them. So you go to, you actually do a digital marketing, right? Thinking that you select an audience there, thinking that these could be my potential prospects. You go to an exhibition or a trade show or a conference, thinking my potential customers may come there, right? All of these people are your prospects. You define that these are a list of 10 companies who could be my potential customers. These are your prospects. These are the people who are not aware about you yet. So your first thing would be a kind of communication which needs to go to them so that they get aware about your services or your product. And out of these products, some people, after they get out of these prospects, some people who get aware about you, they raise their hand and they say, yes, I'm interested in your product. I'm interested in your service. These are the people who become your leads, right? They want to know more about you. They want to know more about your services. So there is a big difference between the prospect and the lead. For a prospect, it's all about awareness. For a lead, now you're at the lead stage with some people, and there is a funnel going on. There's a huge list of prospects, and there is a set of people who reached out to you. Yes, I'm interested. They like your post, or they said, okay, I want to know more about it. Give me a quotation, right? These are the people whom you will now communicate in a different set of communication, which is all about confidence building, right? I'm going to be talking about in the next slides. And these people, when they have enough confidence with you, they are going to turn into customers. Some of them will buy. Again, a funnel which gets created. So these customers, you have to have a different kind of communication for the customers. I'm going to be talking about it very soon. But we need to understand that these are the three different set of people where the way of communicating with them and what you're communicating with them is completely different. And incidentally, we send a single communication to all sort of people. And that is where a marketing blunder literally happens. The first step is a blunder. And that is why people are actually in a casino machine, not with an ATM machine, right? So let's now talk about each one of them. Managing prospects. The first one is that you need to first identify what kind of prospects we are talking about. Now you are defining your various target segments within the prospect. So I know that there could be hundreds of people who could be my prospects, right? But some of them will be probably more sensitive to the quality they are looking at in your product. Some of them could actually be looking at the bulk quantities, right? Some of them these days are talking about recyclability or sustainability, right? Some of them have a very, very region-specific requirement or a very country-specific requirement, right? So you will have to first identify to whom or to which kind of person you are addressing to. You need to identify that thing first. And you need to create actually 3, 4, 5, 6 different buckets of these set of customers and then frame a communication for each of them. That is something which is required. Now, when you actually market yourself in social media and other forums, you will need to define attention bucket number 1, and you give a solution to them. Attention bucket number 2. If you market and if you pitch yourself on social media, do not put a generic communication. If you focus it, yes, only 10% of your entire customer or prospect base is going to notice that, but that is what you need. You do not need 100% people to notice, because if the communication becomes too generic, people do not notice it. But the moment you focus that communication to somebody, people start noticing it. So you need to frame your communication message for each one of them. And then your ultimate and the only aim. Now, this is where, again, people falter. People who do not know you yet, you cannot make a sale to them. All your communication should do is to make them aware that you exist and build your credibility that you exist, and in a very good manner. That you put a very good impression to them. And that is where the role of branding comes in. That is the role of your infrastructure and all that factors come in, right? Only goal with prospects is that they get aware about you, and in a very emphatic manner. Now, this is the first set, managing prospects. Some of these people, out of them, after they have got aware about you, they will actually turn into leads, right? Now, let's see, what are you going to do with them? Managing leads. Now, what happens is the moment you get this lead, the moment you have got them going and you say, okay, I have 2 connects, 2 people who have logged onto my website and left their email ID, or 2 people or 3 people responded to my social media post and they say, I'm interested. What do you do with them? Do you straight away connect with them? Or what do you do with them? Now, this is also very interesting. We start connecting with them instantly, right? But interesting bit here is it's not just about connecting first. Are you first capturing them? Now, this is a very big mistake what people do. We start talking to them without capturing the data. And that is where you falter. I should be in a situation, if I ask you, who was the person 5 years from now, if I tell you that Harbinder or Dhaval, who was the person who connected with you 5 years back on this date, you should be able to answer that. Unfortunately, the moment you get a lead, you start calling them. Out of the 5 people who reached out to you, you actually get into a conversation with 2 of them. You actually end up closing 1, but you lose those 4 people because they somehow never connected with you and they could not do business with you. Maybe they were not ready to do business with you. Have you thought about that? Right? But after 6 months, if I ask you who connected with you, you'll not even remember those 4 people and they were somewhere lost. So first thing what you need to do you need to capture them. Now you do it on a CRM. You know, there are hundreds of CRM tools which are there. For example, for one of my business, I use Zoho CRM. There is Lead Squared, there is HubSpot. There are many CRM tools which are available these days. Important point is that you are capturing them. And once you capture, it's only then you connect with them. You talk to them. And this is something, if you have teams, it is very critical for you to tell your teams to do that also. Because they cannot have all the leads. You have to have them centralized at one point. For teams, it is also very, very critical, right? Now, the next step for you is that now that you're speaking to the lead, how will the lead grow confidence in you? Now, that is again a second kind of communication. We spoke about the prospect communication. Now we talk about the communication with the leads. With leads, your entire focus should be how this person is going to get a confidence so that they can buy from me. Now, this is where the selling part comes in. But how will they get a confidence? It's only when you are professional in dealing with them. It's only when you are showing that you have. Just see all right. We have right.
I've muted that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. So with the leads, it's all about building that confidence. And when I say confidence, it's about your infrastructure. It's about the way you deal. It's about the way you send your quotation. It's about the time you take to respond to them about your queries. It's sometimes in your business, there are certain kind of certifications which are required, which needs to be presented. Are you showing enough testimonials to them from your past customers, or are you showing enough case studies? All these factors give them the necessary confidence, right? And once they get the confidence, they think that now it is the time, I get enough, I trust them now. And this is where they feel that you are a good company to deal with. And then at this stage, they are going to convert into business. So a different kind of communication, which is required for leads. And then comes the third segment, people who have bought from you. They become your customers. What do you do with them? Now, one very critical factor is the first thing which everybody would agree with me actually, is that you need to deliver them a world-class experience, world-class service, a definitely good product, right? Which makes them completely floored fans of yours, right? This is what you want your customers to think about you. Because if you continuously give them perfect service, they come back to you, and they come back to you again, and they come back to you again, right? And this is how you need to make sure that you are reaching out to them enough and they are buying more from you. Now, this is where the third kind of communication comes in. With your customers, you do a completely different communication, how you are enticing them to buy more from you and to buy more often from you. You know, Jay Abraham, the famous marketing guru, he always talks about how does the customers buy more from you and buy more often from you. Your all strategies should be around that. So there is a third kind of communication which is required from the customers, with the customers. And last but not the least, of course, with this kind of communication, the customers will come back and will buy more from you. They will not only buy more from you, they will also refer you to more people. So are you communicating with your customers so that they can refer you more? Now, that is also a strategy. How often you go back to your customers stating that please refer me. Now, we leave this point to chance. We think that our customers think good about us and they will refer us. But let me tell you, you need to make a strategy to aggressively, and I will be talking about this strategy at a later stage. You need to make a strategy to get these referrals from them. Cannot leave that to chance, right? This is where another communication comes into the customer. So customers have an altogether different communication, right? 3 different kinds of communication. I will request you, I will come back to the same slide what I mentioned. Look at the prospects, look at the leads, and look at the customers. You cannot afford to make single communication to all of them, right? 3 communications. And now that we have understood about this, let's look at, it's time to communicate. Now that we've understood about the kind of people we need to communicate to, let's look at what do you really talk about and how do you really talk to them, right? This is where the 5 laws of marketing come in very, very handy. And these are the laws which as a business owner, you need to kind of learn by heart, live every day, right? And the first of these laws is actually, you've all heard it, niche market, right? Niche marketing. Do you know the biggest mistake, one of the biggest mistakes of marketing? One of the biggest mistakes of marketing is telling everything to everyone. You want to tell everything to everyone, right? And the second biggest mistake is telling everything in one go. The moment you find a customer or find a prospect, you want to tell that person everything, right? Two of the biggest mistakes which all of us tend to do, right? So what you need to do is, you need to change your strategy. You need to divide segments to talk about a message. As I earlier said, the buckets, right? So you need to divide your segments to talk about a message specifically, and then learn to limit your information to one segment. Very, very critical that you need to learn to limit your information to one segment. People do not need too much information. Very simply, just see how you can be laser focused on a very single bucket. So you need to have these various buckets of products, right? That these are my products. And the moment you talk to somebody, you understand what kind of product that person has come to buy. And of course, this will happen by asking a set of questions. And then you only give that person that kind of communication. You don't need to give them everything. You give them an overview about your business, of course, but then you limit your communication to them. And generally, there is an urge that, let me tell everything. He will probably be too impressed. Let me tell you, if there's something which is superficial, the moment you tell too many things, it becomes a superficial. You need to have a laser focus. Do you know a 100-watt bulb can actually light a room? A 100-watt laser can cut through steel. That is the importance of keeping something focused. So we need to do that also. Let's look at more. The second law, which is very, very important, right? Who is your target customer? You need to define your target customers really, really well. For each of the niche, for each of the product which you have, right? You need to define this product, which kind of customer this product, who will buy this kind of product. So you need to define a persona of that person, of that company for that matter. Age, location, what kind of business they are in. Define their buying behavior. Are they price sensitive or they're okay with the price, right? These factors are very, very critical when you are defining. So define a target customer and map it with regards to each of the product, right? So each product, you have 5 or 6 product buckets, and you see each product bucket, what kind of customers are going to buy this product, and create a strategy for them, right? And then learn to limit this information. This kind of person has come to buy this kind of product. There has to be communication created for that particular segment. And again, as I'm saying, you need to do a lot of things in marketing. You need to create several kinds of communication. As in, your mind should actually work in a way that it has to map out. It has to map, okay, this product versus this kind of customer, this set of communication has to go to him or her. That is what this is the strategy we are talking about, which really makes the point, the ATM strategy, the ATM machine strategy, right? So once we have done that, now is the time that what kind of communication you are going to do. What are you going to talk to them? We have defined our customers. We've defined our target segments and the products. Now it is the time that you need to create your unique selling proposition, right? You need to create your own identity. And the problem here is that many of us are actually in a Me Too business. What is a Me Too business? How are you different from your nearest competitor? Right? First thing you need to look at is how are you different from your nearest competitor? And what is a Me Too business? Me Too business is, how do you define your price? Because my competitor said so. How did you make your product? Because my competitors also sell a similar kind of product. Right? What kind of customers you want to sell to? The kind of customers my competitors is serving. So many of us are actually in a Me Too business. When will we change that? And how will we differentiate it is something which is very, very critical. So your entire strategy and the thing should be that how will you be different from your nearest competitor? Please see this nearest as a big, bold thing which is there. How are you different from your nearest competitor is something which you need to look at. And a lot of times, the moment I've asked now thousands of people actually, when I speak about the USP with them, and they say, you know what, my USP is actually, I have the best quality, I have a great price, I'll give you the best price, I have a big range, I can deliver on time. These are the usual things which come when it comes to asking for USP. Let me tell you, cannot your competitor say the same thing? That I have the best quality, best price, best range, the widest range, and the timely delivery. If your competitor can also ask it, it is not your USP, right? So you need to be very, very clearly defining your strategy, creating a USP. You know, in the consulting sessions which I go with the companies, it takes me a good week of discussions to actually get to a USP. So it is a very wide topic if I talk about. But having said this, one thing what you can do always, and this is somewhere which you all can do tomorrow for that matter. Tomorrow is Saturday if your customers are working, or Monday. What makes your customers keep coming back to you is an answer which you need from your customers. Okay? You need to ask your customers, boss, I have seen you have been working with us for 5 years, right? Tell me something. You could have worked with our nearest competitor also. What makes you come back to us? And please tell me something beyond quality, price, range, and timely delivery. You will see the real responses start coming out, and you will get some great insights. And that is something which is your defining moment, that this is where you are differing from your customers, from your competitors. Again, a very, very critical point. I would say that if you dare to be different, you will actually make a mark. Very, 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 very critical. And if you want to read more about it, there is a book, Differentiate or Die, from Jack Trout. Is something what you can definitely read. Or there is a book from there's a gentleman, I'm forgetting this name. I will come back to about the name. There's another gentleman who first spoke about it in 1960 about the USP, about the unique selling proposition. Very, very critical, but you need to read more about it and think how can you be more different from your nearest competitors. Very, very important and very critical. So let's talk now about the fourth thing, right? The law of focus. In your business, you need to learn to focus on one brand. If you focus too broadly, you actually dilute your message completely, right? In your business, you need to your customers, you need to appear to be talking about one focused brand. People do not like jack of all trades and masters of none. And when I say focus too broadly, which I mean that you cannot be doing an automobile business and also open a food business. Two completely different messages under a common brand doesn't work, right? That is where the brand focus is very, very critical. Yes, within food business, you know that if you're doing a couple of things within the food business, it still appears to be that, you have a common message going on. But you cannot have too many different messages going to your customers. And this is what people tend to do. Within the same brand, they will end up opening one and the other and the third kinds of businesses. And then you completely dilute your offering. What happens because of this is people do not feel you are a specialist. And marketing is all about feeling specialist, authority. The moment you start talking about too many things, you lose your customers' trust of feeling like an expert, feeling like a specialist. So my recommendation to you is one brand, one message. Appear to be a specialist to your customers, and you will reap the benefits of getting focused. So before you actually introduce any product, you need to ask yourself one more question. Is it going to dilute my offering? If yes, that is not the strategy. And it doesn't mean that you are not launching new brands. If I take the simplest of the examples, Coca-Cola has a brand called Kinley, but it comes in Kinley. It doesn't say Coca-Cola water, right? It's a very clear thing for that matter. So the one brand has to give one message. Next up, this is about the law of focus. And the next important strategy is WIFM principle, right? What's in it for me? Always, whenever you are creating a message, you need to look at is you are talking to the customer with regards to customer's benefit. Many times, this is again, sometimes becomes debatable. A lot of people think that I need to talk about my product. But the point is that you need to always talk about the benefit. Always think about your customer first. Always think it from their perspective. Always think while marketing, while any communication you create, what do they need? How will it benefit them? And create all your communication from their perspective. I remember somebody actually spoke about how he spoke about, I have a product which can increase your efficiency by 15%. The product name is not spoken. He doesn't talk about it, but he speaks about, I have a product which can increase your efficiency by 15%. Okay, now I'm interested. But you talk about, I have a product which has got these many features and which starts like this and closes like this and all that. I'm not interested. Please talk to me later. But the moment you say, I have a product which can increase my efficiency, which can increase your efficiency or increase or decrease your cost by 5%, or I have a product with which you can save 2 hours in your day, now I want to listen. And this is what a benefit focused strategy and not a product focused strategy. And that's what we need to look at, right? So always think it from the customer perspective. And then think about the kind of value you can develop. Always think about developing a value proposition. Define the benefits of each of your product categories very, very clearly. Define the benefits for each of your customer types. Now, this is a task. Now we say marketing an easy subject to go. You have a lot of communication to plan, right? You need to have the benefits mapped out for each product. You need to have benefits mapped out for each customer and create a combination, map them together and create a combination of this. And the strategy which you're going to make then is a laser focus killer pitch. And that is to be disseminated to each customer type, right? And let me tell you, our minds are so focused in recognizing the communication for us. Even if there are 5 kinds of communication you disseminate at the same time, a customer will only notice one kind of communication because of that cognition, because of that reticular activation system, and they will only notice their communication, which is okay, right? That's what you need to do. And always, whenever you're going to pitch, market, whatever you're doing, the Pareto principle, I love Pareto principle, right? The 80-20 rules applies everywhere, and it does in marketing as well. Whenever you're doing anything, 80% will be value and 20% will be sale. Always remember, always, any communication, whether it's email marketing, whether you're doing your digital marketing, whether you're doing anything, the value providing is 80% and 20% are sales messages. While I've seen it's reverse. Most of the times it's reverse, or not even reverse. Some people just think about 100% of sales. Every time they figure out something or they create a communication, it's sales. And that is where, then that's when they say that, you know what, people are not really liking us. They're not really finding benefits with us. How will they if you're not thinking about their benefit? And another very, very critical thing in defining that what kind of customers. Now you see, when I actually said that you need to make these buckets and make these different kind of customers and the communication, how will you know whom to talk to what, right? And that is where the importance of asking questions comes in very, very handy. You know, Brian Tracy, I call him my guru. Brian Tracy said, telling is not selling, only asking questions is selling. So it is very, very critical for you, before you define what kind of communication you need to tell to somebody, you need to ask them a series of questions. You need to uncover the need. And this is where your questions are going to be coming in very handy. You need to uncover the pain. And you need to see which bucket the customer is falling in. So uncover the need, uncover the pain, and see the bucket they are falling in and make a pitch accordingly. Let me tell you, the impact will be 10 times more if you are only seeing the need and the pain. And the moment, and this need and the pain, you are not asking them now. You need to do an activity now, sitting with your team, brainstorm for hours and days as what are my customer pains. Talk to a few of your customers of what kind of things they feel. And then the moment some new customer or a prospect talks about that pain, your trigger goes up. Okay, this pain, this communication disseminated. And the ATM strategy kicks in. That's what you need to do. Next up, we've spoken about laser focus strategy, right? All of this, you need to create a laser focus pitch. And how do you really create a laser focus pitch? A very simple rule, the rule of 3. To whatever communication you talk anywhere, if you follow these 3 rules, it will always be a hit. And what is that? Very simple. You talk about a problem, you give a solution, and you give a proof for it. It will be hit anywhere. You can implement it anywhere, whether it is a digital marketing post, whether it is an email campaign, whether it is a simple, you are talking to somebody in a meeting. You will always, and you have to always talk about a problem so that the customer resonates with it first. And then you tell them that how you solve that problem. So you are actually a solution provider. And then you need to give a proof, the social proof, how people have used it already. And that's it. Yes, there are a lot of paraphernalia around it, which you need to do, of course, right? But if in 3 simple sentences, you can explain your business, these are 3 things. You know what the problem is? And you know how we solve that problem? Well, recently we did this something for somebody like this. 3 simple sentences. You know what the problem is? And how we've been solving this problem. And you know what? Recently we solved this problem for some client like this. As simple as that, your communication is complete. So always think about the problem, solution, proof, PSP, right? Next up, now that we've understood what are the 5 laws of marketing and how do you really think about creating a laser focus pitch, let's talk about what are the channels of marketing. How do you really create that communication? How do you really go to them? Now, conventionally, we have seen a lot of channels which were there, right? We had the print and the radio and the TV and the exhibition. These were all conventional channels of marketing, right? Has been there for donkey's years, for that matter, right? All of them. Some of them may actually hold true. Some of them may actually hold true for larger companies, right? But I saw that some of these channels will still hold true. But for SMEs, if I talk about, and I passionately always talk about the SMEs, there are 6 top channels which an SME needs to always take care that they need to adopt, which can actually be a very cost-effective strategy as well for them. And these 6 channels are, number 1, and most of them we know, by the way, right? It's just that how many of them we are using is something we need to see. Social media marketing, that's number 1. We all know about it. Email marketing. Content marketing, right? Building content. Paid marketing, pay-per-click. It is actually a wonderful strategy. I'm going to be talking about a little bit about each one of them in the future slides. Event marketing, participating in events and exhibitions. And then the last one is referral marketing. Producing referrals from your clients or asking for more referrals. These are the 6 very important and very, very cost-effective strategies which can be for you. So let's look at briefly each one of them. I'm not going to go in much of a detail of each one of them, but let's talk about each one of them. Social media. We all know that there are 2.7 billion monthly active users of Facebook, 760 million users of LinkedIn, 1 billion users on Instagram, and 2 billion users of YouTube, right? If everybody's there. Why are we not? And what kind of strategy we are doing? Do you know 78% of all small businesses now get at least 1/4 of the new customers via social media? And 61% of young people refer to social media to decide where to go and when they go out, right? So how can we ignore the social media strategy? So what you need to do is you need to choose your channels really well. You need to make regular business pages, and I'm sure all of you already have them. But important and critical point is that you need to have regular postings there. You need to generate engagement. And I just see the 80-20 rule applies here as well. Not only that, you need to have your good websites and landing pages. All of this lets you communicate with your potential customers. And you need to keep them well, brand well. Because whatever you see, whatever people see on your post, they make an image about you. So social media is a very important tool in business marketing. It increases your brand awareness. It engages with your audience. Customers, a lot of people use it for customer service and support. These days, Twitter is handling more customer service issues than actually calls, literally, right? Marketplace awareness or generating more leads or increasing website traffic. You need to choose a goal and go for it. Let's look at the second channel, email marketing. And when I spoke about email marketing to people, what is the people's idea of email marketing for most of them? They say, get me the data and I will start selling. That's what people think is the basic part about email marketing. Unfortunately, email marketing actually is not at all about selling, right? It is all about building value. And in fact, this is one of the most essential tools for the businesses. It is a form of direct marketing, right? It's your data and the reach is in your control compared to digital marketing. Do you know digital marketing? All the tools they show 3 years back, Facebook, LinkedIn changed their algorithm and they show your post only to 10% of your the people who like you, right? Who follow you. And it's only the next set of people who like and share, it gets shown to the next set of people and much later. But with email marketing, you actually reach to the inbox directly. But what you need to do is you need to work on building an email marketing list over a period of time and start communicating with them. I have full sessions which I take on each one of them. So I'm not going to go into detail each one of them. I have a full 45-minute session which I just do on email marketing for that matter. But important is that your emails must get delivered, your emails must get read, and your emails must get responded. These are the 3 rules which you need to look at when it comes to the email marketing. Let's talk about the next one. The pay-per-click method, the paid media, right? Something what we see every day. The moment you type something on Google, it will come out above the search results. You see these ads these days, right? This is PPC, pay-per-click, Google AdWords, Bing ads. What are these? As simple. The best part about these PPC methods is that you do not really pay for impressions. You pay only for the clicks. And you can bid on the clicks and you can rank, you can come up based on the bidding price as well as your SEO ranking. And you can appear on top. I just put workstation on top and there were 3 things. There was a bidding probably happened on that. And the good part is that this guy will only pay when I click on this post, right? So, and this is a very, very interesting and a cost-effective manner because you can control your costs. And you know that the moment somebody's clicked, they will automatically anyways going to your website. So there's a conversion to the website that's already happened. But then after they have clicked, it's your job to make them convert them once they are on your website. That is the magic which you will have to weave, of course. But this way, the strategy of PPC works really well, right? So advertisers pay each time a user clicks on one of their online ads. Search engine, Bing and Google have spoken about that. And of course, it's all about your search engine results page. That's how I mentioned we do. The next set is building content, right? As a company, you need to work on building good content always. And this is all about 80% of customer benefit posts and 20% of sales promotion. This session we are in right now is building content, right? The articles you write, the blogs you write, the videos you deliver on social media, right? All of that is content. And as a company, in any business you may be in, you need to build that kind of a content, because that gives you authority, that builds authority. It's a slow process, but it builds an authority over a period of time, and you appear, the moment you have authority, you appear to be a specialist, right? That's channel number 4, building good content. You need to write more blogs, LinkedIn articles, talk about it. It is happening, and the people who are doing it are getting noticed. In having a personal brand, Harbinder would talk about it. It is so very important to do all of that, right? Always. What is another marketing channel? The next marketing channel is exhibitions, participating in exhibitions and trade shows. Again, a very, very critical strategy. It gives you instant information about what kind of competition you have, what kind of products you have, and what kind of marketing you need to do. What is the acceptability of my product? Every single thing you get instantly in an exhibition. And exhibition should ideally, for a business owner, again, it's a cost-effective strategy. It's in your control how much money you want to spend on an exhibition. Not only in India, you want to go out of the country. Exhibitions is a great way to test markets before you actually enter into these markets. So think about adopting or identify the exhibitions which are happening in your industry and participating. And the last of the channels is actually the referral marketing. I said it earlier as well. In a consumer, for a customer, referral marketing is very, very important. Are you actually just waiting for the referrals to happen, or are you actually enticing your customers to give you referrals? In fact, a wonderful strategy is, which can happen even before they have become a customer. Do you know you can induce a referral even before they have become a customer? How? Let me tell you. This is what happens when you actually start, when the customers negotiate with you. You give a thought. You conceive a thought about referrals when they are negotiating with you. So next time any customer is negotiating with you, you already know that you will give them a 5% discount. You have to give a 5% discount because you want the project. Okay, you want to sell the product. You will tell them that, sir, I will give you some discount. I'm ready to have, after deep thought, I have thought about giving you a discount, but on one condition. Okay, what is the condition? Sir, I am giving you 5% discount, which means I have to cover my cost from somewhere else. Do you agree? I said, yes, I agree. So is it okay with you if every 3 months I sit with you for an hour and you can identify some good customers for me, right? Who are as good as you, customers as good as you. Can you please do that to me? Once in 3 months, 1 hour, I would like to sit with you. What do you think the customer is going to say? Okay, no problems. Get me my 5% discount. But the moment he agrees to that particular point, he has logged himself into that 1 hour meeting, which will be dedicated to finding customers for you. Right? And that is what you need to do. After that, you need to make sure you never leave that 1 hour meeting with them. And another critical word which I use in this, customers as good as you. So you're going to say, you would help me connect to customers, to prospects as good as you. So that person is already feeling, wow, as good as me. So he's already high on whatever ego he had or whatever things he had, right? So that is what you need to do. And that is how you are going to make him pay for that referrals. You're actually going to do that. Create that referral strategy. This is how you induce referrals. And when you say induce referrals, sit with that person in that meeting, make him call that person whom you want to refer to and tell that person. Otherwise, it will never happen, by the way. You are sitting in that meeting, you're saying, sir, please help me call that person. Or if you can write a mail, right away, put an introduction to me. 1 hour is for me, sir. And I will keep working for you. I will keep adding value to you. Use this strategy. It will going to greatly help you. Apart from that, for B2C customers, direct to consumer customers, you need to have a referral marketing strategy. You need to have a referral plan. How are you inducing referrals? A lot of times you see Amazon and Flipkart of the world are giving you referral coupons every day, right? So if you are a D2C brand, you need to have your referral marketing strategy. If you are a B2B brand, you need to talk to customers like these. right? Staying on customers. I should want to talk about, and I should be done very soon. It's not that long that I finish my session. Staying on customers, it is very, very important. I initially spoke about delivering a world-class service to your customers. And delivering a world-class service also is very, very critical for an effective marketing strategy. In fact, this is one of the key most important part of your marketing strategy, right? So first you need to do, what are the 4 pillars of customer service? You need to understand your customers really well. You need to give them the highest quality service. You need to have delivery systems. You need to have your employees fully engaged, and you need to have your processes, every single thing be a part of your perfect delivery. And all of these systems have to integrate properly, fully, so that the customer has a wow experience with you every single time. In my consulting sessions, which I do with the companies, I work on entire customer marketing strategy. In fact, we have 3 very, very critical strategies which we end up creating on prospects, on your leads, and on your customers. And this is one big thing which we unfortunately leave on the plate, the customers. And we cannot do that. But there are 2 kinds of customers you need to take care. What are these 2 kinds of customers? Only 2 kinds of customers. And we think that, okay, I know there are many kinds of customers, but let me tell you, there are only 2 kinds of customers. One of them who are internal, and the second are external. Who are your internal customers? Your internal customers are actually your employees. You need to take care of them because they are really the ones who are dealing with your customers. So relationship with your employees has to be great, has to be amazing. If they feel valued, they will enjoy coming back to work. And if they come back to work and they feel enjoyed, they will share that positive attitude with your customers. So before you think about planning a strategy for your external customers, you need to keep these internal customers really feel valued, because they are going to make sure that you have a wonderful experience. Your company has a wonderful experience with your customers. So this is the first set, your internal employees, your internal customers. Then comes your external customers, of course. This is where you think that they are the real set of customers, and they are, of course, right? You need to give them a legendary customer service, needless to say. So consistent and smooth that customers come back to you every time. Yes, it is. Neglecting great service, can have dire consequences. And it is these older customers of yours who have, let me tell you, 0% chance of faltering, Because the moment you cannot even be 99.9% good with them. Because the moment you will lose one time, they will say, you know what, they have started taking us for granted. Isn't that happen all the time, right? So this is your older customers who need the most attention, not the newest, the oldest. So you need to make sure that you are delivering an extraordinary service to your customers. And towards the end of the session, all I want to talk about is, I would request you to make marketing a habit. Make marketing a habit, really. Allocate dedicated time each week. Learn more about marketing. As much as you can read about marketing, please do so. As much as you can attend these sessions, please do so. Make notes, right? Take help from experts if you have to. If you are not finding time, take help from experts. They will give you that dedicated time each week. All what a consultant most of the times do is it makes you regular with looking at your marketing, right? And find a balance with channels of marketing. I spoke about 6 channels. You need to find a balance with them. What works and what not. Allocate budgets to spend. Let me tell you, please, this is one place where you cannot cut corners. And as I said, don't wait for the business. You need to go grab it, right? This is what you need to do. You cannot just wait for the business. Go grab it. And all in the end, what I want to talk about is how I help people. All I want to talk about is what I do in my business is I help people address few challenges. I help them if they're facing too much competition, or they're not being able to expand to new markets, or their business pipeline is drying up, or they have a challenge adopting new marketing methods, or they have customer service issues. That is where I end up helping. With this, I close my session. And in case any one of you need to connect with me, please feel free to connect. I will be, of course, available after the session to have a discussion around it or answer any questions. And I would like to thank one more time Harbinder for giving me this opportunity to speak to everyone. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Gagan. I think, it's been such a brilliant session. It's my honor to have you with us on the session today. And I am 110% sure that everybody on the session also resonates that thought that, it has been a brilliant 1 hour of listening to you. I mean, I was completely engrossed. I took my notes. And a couple of things were like really, really simple, but, they were path breaking when you think of it. I mean, things like the whole understanding of ATM as a concept in marketing itself just kind of blew my mind away. So that was brilliant. How asking questions rather than making a pitch uncovers the need and pain is such a beautiful thing. I mean, how many of us actually do that? So I think it was a brilliant, brilliant session. Thank you so much for taking out time. So, I mean, I'd like to open up the floor for questions right now. So if you have any questions, I have listed a couple of questions while I was listening to the conversation. But if anybody has questions, we'll love to take those first. Let me begin with one question that I have noted down, Gagan. I've listed 7 questions. I hope you have time for that, right? So
I have all the time.
Awesome, awesome. So first is that you were talking about, the 3 sets of audience. So while you were talking of, the customers, the leads and the prospects, right? But you also, I mean, this is a conversation that I was having with Dhaval, who's also on the session today. And we were discussing about how do you identify the person within the organization that you're targeting, So that person, he may be having different roles. For example, he may be an influencer, he could be a decision maker. So how do you align the client, which is the prospect or a lead, and then the person within that organization? And then how do you align the conversation for that person, keeping that particular, client, kind of a client?
So very good question, Harbinder. And this is where the role of 2 things which come in very, very handy. Either you are asking the right set of questions. I spoke about asking the right set of questions to that person. Or if you have not yet reached up to him, have you done enough research about them that you can, enough about them so that you can pick up a point and bring in that level of familiarity with that person. And these days, I think it is very, very much possible to do that. You could actually just simply go onto LinkedIn or Facebook, see what they are talking, liking, or go on Twitter and follow them or see what they're doing. And you will get to know their likings and all that. And then once you are in a conversation with them, of course, you can bring in that kind of a discussion and bring that level of familiarity. And suddenly the person will start feeling, wow, this person looks to be, liking some things like me, and I am interested, So I think, for that kind of a thing, you need to do this. Second bit is, once you meet that person, you need to ask the right kind of questions. You know that which direction your entire communication should go into, right? As I said, you need to always think about the laser focused communication. The moment you've mapped out that person with a bucket, with the communication, with the pain point it has to come in, you need to kind of immediately start mapping it through and take it forward. That's what I would say.
Okay, we have Jasmine who's written something great tips. Being a doctor, running the private practice could pick up many points. Would love some tips pertaining to my field, particularly for reaching out to patients and clients. So just to give you a background, Dr. Jasmine Nanda, she is a dental surgeon. She is working specifically with kids. So I think her question is, how does she reach out to her patients and clients?
Well, I would say that it's a discussion for a full session, I would say, just talking about, but you're already in a fairly good niche for that matter. That's what I see. You would have certain price points. I would definitely understand about each of the product which you have or each of the services which you have. And you would also need to see what kind of people are capable of paying for your services, right? You will have to map out the kind of, hey, this is where the kind of people, the kind of parents who can pay that kind of things or the price points which you want to work on comes in very, very handy. An important point would be that, are you mapping that value proposition with regards to the price point you are keeping, right? And if you are able to, you will definitely be able to then command a price on whatever service you are saying. So I would say for you, important and critical points would be map out the personas of the parents, how much their paying capability is, and create your pricing like that. There are, every kind of people are there who can pay any amount for that matter. All you need to do is you need to map out your value along with the price, and I'm sure you will be able to plan a good strategy out.
Awesome. So I have a follow-up question, and then I'll go to Dhaval. Dhaval has raised his hand. So my question is related to what you've just said, that, India is a very price-sensitive market.
Yes.
Right? Now, in this price-sensitive market, specifically when you're looking at owners of, traditional businesses who have always typically played on price, what are the things that they should consider while pricing?
I would say the first thing they need to consider is, do not give the pricing straight away, please. Do not give the pricing before you've spoken about the value that price can give. And this is where the role of having an ROI comes in very, very handy. That first you need to give your value proposition. You need to talk about your own credibility, that why you are the best suited to do this job. And only after you've spoken about these things, you need to talk about the price. And immediately after the price, you need to talk about the ROI. What kind of return on investment you are going to bring. If you make this thing in a combination like this, any product can be sold at any price, let me tell you. All the big companies who've been selling products like at the best of the costs, all what they have done is that they've been able to give the value proposition really well and then ask for a price rather than before, right? So business owners, I always tell them the same thing. You need to first show them that you are capable to do this, and give the value proposition. And immediately after giving the price, show how the price they are paying for is actually much less than the actual ROI they're going to get.
Awesome. I think that's brilliant. Dhaval, would you want to unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, sure. So Gagan, I have a quick question on this, wherein you mentioned that because what we have observed is, I think there is a very thin line of difference between a prospect and a lead. I mean, based on our pipeline, which we are also building in. So my question is how to really identify the kind of communication that goes from our side to a prospect and a lead. So, I mean, it becomes very challenging in the sense that मतलब पता नहीं चलता है कि कौन सा medium use करें, because I mean we, let's say, use WhatsApp and email and phone calls and Facebook, LinkedIn, of course, one to many kind of, but it is very, I mean, we are finding difficulty in understanding as to what kind of communication should go to a prospect and to a lead.
See, there is, I think very good point, Dhaval. There is a thin line, but the biggest difference is the goal. The biggest difference is the goal in the sense with prospects, your goal is just the awareness so that they become a lead. And the biggest difference with the lead, communication to lead, is that they need to become your customers. So some communication, what you're doing to your leads is confidence building. A lot of communication you're doing to your leads is confidence building. And some of these confidence building measures, you are going to talk even when you are talking to your prospects, because they need to feel impressed. I did mention the word impressed. Your prospects, when they get aware about you, they also need to get impressed with you, right? But your goal is to just get them aware that you exist and that they show their willingness to engage with you, not to buy from you, right? That is the critical point.
Right.
That communication is just, the goal is just for them to engage. And with the leads, the goal is for them to buy. So engage versus buy. And customers is refer again. Engage, buy, refer again. Customers is refer again. These are the three goals what you need to look at.
Awesome, Gagan. I'll ask one more question before I go to Akash. Akash is waiting. He's raised his hand. Now, I do personal branding, you know, and my question to you is, when we are going and talking to business owners and we're talking of, you know, the small and medium-sized companies, how important is the credibility of the person in today's day and age versus the credibility of the organization?
I would say initially when you are a smaller organization, a lot of business you get because of your own credibility, right? So as a business owner, needless to say that you have to have a great personal image and personal branding coming into effect, because it is only because of that personal brand image and that authority which you present that they believe in your company. And the second bit, what you need to do is, with you getting above in terms of the people's eyes with regards to your authority and personal brand image, you need to slowly also build your company's brand as well. But initial few connects, initial few businesses, you will always get because of your own connects, your own relationships, because of your own personal brand image which is there. And eventually, I would say that it transitions into both the company as well as the personal brand image go up in the eyes of the people over a spread of time, I would say. But all starts with the personal brand image, Harbinder.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. Akashi, would you want to unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, thanks, Harbinder. Unmuted now. First, Harbinder, thank you very much. You keep organizing these sessions, and there's always something which just sticks after them. And today, all credit obviously goes to Gagan. Gagan, thank you very much. I'm sitting here in Dubai. I'm also BNI member. And Gagan, you said a few things which obviously struck a chord. And I'm going to call them out, and I'm going to seek your permission to share them with my group. Of course, with due credit to you. I'm currently the education coordinator, so I'm definitely going to pick up some of this. And the one thing which you said today, you know, a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, struggle with understanding the concept of USP.
Yes.
And it's very difficult sometimes to even help them do that. But you gave me the solution today. You know, when you said that let your customers help you understand what your USP is, I think that's a brilliant insight. And I'm sure it'll be very helpful to anybody who understands this. That was one. And of course, the other thing which you said, and BNI, we always say, you know, specific is terrific. I again love the analogy you put up there. You know, a 100-watt bulb can light up the room, but a 100-watt laser can cut through steel. So brilliant. So thank you very much for that, Gagan. And yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, marketing is such a vast subject. There's so much that goes on. It's so unique to every business and every audience that you define for your business. But I think you've done a great job in bringing so many concepts into this session. Thank you very much for that. Just wanted
my pleasure, Akash, and thank you so much for appreciating some of the points. And yes, please go ahead, do use these points. The more people get to know about it, the better it is. Yes,
I will do that, certainly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akash.
So, Gagan, my next question to you is, there is a concept of customer life cycle or customer lifetime value, and it is much talked about in marketing, sales, etc. And specifically when we are talking of digital businesses, where we say okay, it's okay to spend a lot of money, acquire the customer, even if he buys a product for, you actually lose money on the first couple of sales, their lifetime value both acha hai. Okay. Now, can you help us understand the lifetime value? And second is, what are the hacks that one can use to increase the lifetime value? Is there some standard process or certain things that one must keep in mind?
Yes. The first thing is that one must always look at, like you rightly said, Harbinder, the customer lifetime value. And I would say, I actually quoted a couple of points related to that in my presentation. And if somebody wants to know more about the CLV, Jay Abraham has written a lot on it. The book which he's written is Mastermind Marketing Secrets. I think there's an audio book also around this. And he talks about 2 or 3 concepts around it. He says one is that how will customers buy more on each purchase, right? You need to increase the amount they buy on each purchase. So if you notice, a lot of people use that. They've been selling a 1 kg pack, and they actually create the different packaging, and they create an 1100 gram pack rather than 1 kg pack. They actually change the packing, and the customers, they see a different price, but increased quantity, they start buying more from you. And these strategies from Coca-Cola and all that, where they suddenly start giving you 600 milliliters instead of 500 ml, did not come just like this. It was a complete shift in the strategy where they wanted to buy more. You wanted to buy you more. And initially they did not, they gave you at the same price. And after that, they changed the price. It was an introductory price, and they changed the price. And you started buying 600 instead of 500 for that matter. So what you need to do is to first build a strategy around how will the customer buy more from you at each purchase, right? The second strategy, what you need to think about is how will they will come back to you more often to buy more. Double the strategy. Why will they come back to you to buy more often, to buy more every time? Are you getting the thing what I'm saying, right? So this is where you need to look at what are the things which come to you just before or after your product, which you are currently selling to them. So you need to see, if I am selling, I'm selling a pen. Okay. A pen has to come, a person who's come to write a pen, can he actually buy a notebook from me as well, right? If I need to look at a pen, can he or does he need to buy an ink pot as well, right? So you need to see what are the possible things what the customer can buy from you apart from what you're already selling to that. So customer buys more often because he needs to buy a pen from you, he needs to buy a notebook from you, he needs to buy an ink pot from you, right? So they are buying more often, they are buying more things from you, and each purchase you are selling them more. So it's double the strategy what you need to look at. And this is how you can increase your customer's lifetime value. Important thing, as I said, is the instant thing what you can do is what comes before and what comes after your current product is your scope of improvement instantly, and the consumer will have no problem buying that from you, I can guarantee.
Got it.
Because your focus remains the same. Remember the law of focus? Your focus remains the same around the same thing. The customer will have no problem buying that.
Awesome.
Think about that in your strategy.
Got it. Gagan, I have my one last question that I have, which is that, there are always some clients that we get into the business and we regret getting them on board, right? And we call them bad clients. Now the challenge is you really don't know how to handle them because they could badmouth you and whatever, but you don't enjoy working with them because you're spending more time servicing the client than the money that you get, and it's more of a pain. How do you handle bad clients?
That's a very good question, Harbinder. So bad clients happen to everyone, and they happen in every single business. But the point is, what I would like to mention here is how much you learn from each bad client. Okay, everyone. I've had tons of bad clients, but I learned much later in my business, and I accept that fact. Okay, the day I learned that this is a bad client and this person does this to me, and they can be bad in several ways. They can be bad in not paying enough value to your current services or products. They can be bad in the way they deal and the kind of mind share they take from you. Now these mind share people are the worst for that matter, right? Who take a lot of mind share from you at the point that the similar cost they are paying for another person who's not taking that mind share from you. But let me also tell you, when you meet 2 or 3 or 4 such bad customers, so-called bad customers, okay, you realize that there is a common factor which is appearing in them, a kind of a persona or a kind of a set of people who are appearing from in that. And this is the learning which you need to have from them. And the next time you find a person similar to that persona or something like that, you know, because of their usual behavior, it is not 100%, but because of their usual behavior, they are expected to be bad. So what you need to do, either they pay you a better price for it, right? So if they were already paying, if let's say I charge 20,000 rupees for something, I pay at 25,000 rupees, 5,000 for my extra mind share that they're going to take. If yes, they are a good customer anyways because they're paying better. If not, then it is actually okay to say no, and price becomes a barrier for them automatically for them due to engage, right? I did that. I learned that, but I regret that I learned that very late in my business, where I had already had a lot of mind share. And let me tell you, the day I took a decision, the year, not the day, I would say, it was in 2015 March, when I was revisiting the yearly strategy. I realized that this had happened. And the March was, at that February had been very tough for me with a lot of bad clients, by the way. That is why I started thinking about it in March. And 1st of April, I decided that I've created a persona and I decided I'm not going to work with them again. It took me 6 or 7 months to let go of all my bad customers. Okay. But let me tell you, it opened up so many opportunities for me after that. My mind was so free. I kept saying no to so-called bad customers, and then that opened up so much. And that is the result, Harbinder. You know, I developed 2 entirely new products for my business. I developed this app, which was altogether a birth of me getting more mind share in my business. I changed my complete strategy around the way I was pitching to the people. And that the following year, I got 9 multinational customers, except for after having left the bank. But then the raise which came was completely different. But you should be willing to do that. You should be willing to accept that you need to do that. Right.
Got it. So we have Dhaval who's raised his hand, and after that we'll take a question of Jasmine. She's put a question there. First, Dhaval, can you unmute and ask your question?
Yeah. So Gagan, this is around referral marketing. So I would like to understand if other than financial incentive to get a referral, are there any other, let's say, qualitative points wherein we can, let's say, non-monetarily incentivize an existing customer and get some referrals?
There are, in fact, a lot of them, I would say. In fact, there is a whole referral marketing strategy around the same thing. These days, referral passing through coupons, and this is the easiest way which people get attached to. And people do like to see some monetary benefit, and frankly, you need to consider this as your marketing cost, by the way. Do not see it as a cost on your product, because this is where the role of CLV comes in. You know that each customer, person who becomes my customer, is going to give me, let's say, 5 lakh rupees over the lifetime. And if you have to spend or shell out 4,000 rupees to acquire that customer, who's going to give you 5 lakh rupees eventually, is worth a buy. So you're actually getting that customer fairly cheap, I would say, right? And a lot of people do that, and there is no harm doing that. But this, if start creating a strategy, there are ways with which you can create those referrals. Having these initiatives which you run on social media, and the testimonials which you end up creating, there is somebody actually did a contest around your product, and because of those contests, they were not noticing that they were actually getting to post them this testimonial of theirs on social media, and they were literally, people were getting influenced by all of this, right? I downloaded an app recently, and it is an app which makes me pay for the whole. It's an yearly subscription which I have to pay, and the yearly subscription is it's about $100, huh? Not I think somewhere around even more than that. It's about 120 odd dollars. I realized it was about 10,000 rupees, which it cost me if I would buy that app. But there was a thing which they said. They said, don't want to pay the yearly subscription, follow these steps. And I clicked on what are the follow these steps. They said 60 days, no charge if you create a video and put it on YouTube for us. Okay. Then they said, 120 days, no charge if you constantly every week post about us any good thing on Facebook or Insta for us. So people are earning customers like this, and they say post a video every month, 60 days free, forever. So you can enjoy the app as long as you're posting a video about us every week or every month for that.
Right.
That's a good bargain. They are just
absolutely
floored at their strategy for that matter. This was amazing, right?
I think that's pretty very good strategy. And apart from one more thing, Dhaval, I'd like to add, if I, with your permission, Gagan.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Is that what happens is that the referral or the incentives don't just work for acquiring a customer. Where it also works brilliantly. There's this concept of customer delight, that you keep your customers happy. If your existing customers, like you have the bad customers, you obviously have good customers as well. There are certain customers you want to delight by doing things because of which they will stay with you. They will talk good about you. They will be your brand champions. I mean, I talk about brand champions, which you must nurture. If there's somebody who's talking good about you behind your back, that guy you need to nurture and make your brand champion. So they could get you your next set of customers. So that's something that I really wanted to add. Gagan, we'll take the next question with Jasmine, and then Shad has raised his hand. Sure. So Jasmine is saying, any opinion on the persuasion efforts for continuous engagement, a sign of desperation from customers' point of view? And if it is, how to make it look respectfully engaging to the customers? Question again from a dental entrepreneur. Yeah. So she's a dentist. So does trying to persuade a customer again and again show a sign of desperation?
Jasmine, you'll have to give me, maybe you can unmute and tell me this, give me a bit more clarity on, are you persuading your customer or you're persuading your prospect? And if you're persuading your customer to get a referral or for some other effect, if you can clarify this, it'll be nice.
Yeah. Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Jasmine.
Yeah. So I am asking this with a point of view that I want to engage my existing patients.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, the referrals, but the existing patients, see, in my line, what happens is that one patient, then the whole family of the patient, and then the referrals.
Yes.
Right. But for them, I sometimes have to use the technique of hammering. I have to give them some points of dental tips and something like that, just to make my name come up in their mind again and again, right?
That's
I'm not asking them to come for the treatment.
Yes.
But they have this mind, they have this name again and again in front of them, and the eyes are seeing those clinic and doctor's name. And next time, whenever they'll have pain, they know where to go.
Exactly.
right? So this is my approach. But then is this again and again sending some dental tips or information or something like that is a sign of desperation? Like from a customer's point of view, wo kya sochta hai? Like how does a customer think? And if it is,
so
like,
there is a very simple one word answer for this.
yeah.
Ask. Simply ask if they wish to receive this information or not. And let me tell you, if you're adding value to them, Jasmine,
Yeah,
they would want to receive that information. And if they have said yes in the first place, then you can send, there is no problem, because you've asked them and they said, yes, please send me the information.
right.
Right? Simply ask them whether you are interested. How do
Right.
people subscribe to emails? You ask them whether you are interested in receiving our emails, right? And let me tell you, people who say no, they are doing a favor to you, because then you know that every time you communicate, you are communicating to a segment who wish to learn from you, who wish to receive tips from you. So
Correct.
ask whether you receive, even if you're sending them a WhatsApp communication, let's say, okay, please put a disclaimer at the bottom or send a follow-up message after that. If you do not wish to receive this communication, feel free to type in no in the chat box for me, so that I can take you off from my communication, and I will only come back to you for a very, very important communication if required. And the people who send no to you are doing you a favor. And if they have not sent the no to you, you got their permission to send them constant information. But this is where a very critical thing comes in. If you bug them too much with communication, there is a fine line, a thin line between too much communication and regular communication.
Exactly. Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of people think that regular communication means too much communication.
Yeah.
You need to pace it out well, your communication, and you will eventually find the right balance. If you suddenly, and there is no such thing about any business is about that, that, okay, 7th day, 4th hour, you are sending a communication, that is a good communication. It is businesses. And you will find that balance eventually. You automatically will know what is that balance for you.
Yes. Right. Thank you.
I've seen people, businesses globally, and even in India for that matter, sending weekly messages and still getting a pass that people like that. Or people do otherwise send fortnightly messages and still be on top of their mind. I think that is also good. Fortnightly messages are also good, but don't go too much. But the point is, what are you sending on those every fortnight messages is something which is very, very critical. If you are giving them something which is super value to them, then definitely they will be more than happy to receive.
Right. Correct. All right. Thank you so much.
Shad, would you want to unmute and ask your question?
Hi, Gagan. This is Shad here. First of all, I would like to thank you for such a wonderful insight. And secondly, I have a question about this, like cheaper competition. How should we destroy the cheaper competition? Because it's a very hectic point for us. Like sometimes it becomes very hectic. We approach the customer and then he sees our quotations and price, and then he replies, "Bhai, aapka price bahut zyada hai." And we are getting very less price from the competitors as well. So how to destroy that kind of competition?
You need not destroy the competition, Shad. It's a very good question. It's a very painstaking question for a lot of people. But you need not worry about destroying the competition. You just need to stay clear of it. And how do you stay clear of it? By simply, as I mentioned, the strategy, whenever you are going to talk about a price without talking about your value and how you are different from your competitor, you will fall in this price trap every time. But you need to show four-step strategy on talking about the price, Shad, as I mentioned earlier, right? You're showing them value, you're showing them how you are different, you are then giving the price, and then you're telling them what they get after they talk to you about the price. And many times with the same kind of product, these days it is not only about the product, it's about the service as well. And people command a price because of the greater amount of service they give it to the people rather and the brand value. So if you're able to showcase enough brand value, if you're able to showcase the ROI which they get after dealing with you, even if they are using a similar product as your competitor, if you're able to showcase these two things, you are going to get noticed and people will prefer you. But this is
Right.
and this is a work you need to do to really identify the customer's challenges and build a value proposition around it. Believe you me, 99% of the people do not do that. And if you do that, you will be of those 1% of the people who actually will resonate with the customers better.
Perfect. And another question is that about the follow-ups. Uh, I see like the regular follow-up, like it's a very kind of irritating for many customers. Like usually in my initial days when I used to follow up, like I used to send daily messages. And one time a customer called me and he said, "Hey, look, what are you doing? Like continuously you're sending messages. It is really awkward. Please don't send messages." And he just blocked me. So from then I have changed my follow-ups, and like some says the closing happens in 12 follow-ups, some says the closing happens in 14 follow-ups, but like the follow-up should be also based on his interest, right? Like whether he's convenient to reply our messages or not, whether he's responding or not, that should be the criteria, isn't it?
That is right, Shad. So what is that you finally what strategy are you finally using now? You mentioned earlier you used to do that. What are you doing now?
Yeah. Now what I'm doing is like I'm dropping an audio on a like a week or 10 days, after 10 days. And in that audio messages I'm getting quite good response rather than the texting messages.
Okay.
So sometimes even I make a video, so that also giving me a very positive feedback from the customers. Like whenever I'm outside, I click a video of just 30 seconds or 60-45 seconds, I send to the customers and they immediately replies. Before it was really tough for me when I was texting, like I hardly getting any replies, but when I'm sending these videos and audios, I'm getting the quick responses.
Okay. So Shad, you
So
answered your question yourself.
yeah.
You change the frequency of the people, frequency of the follow-up so that the people do not get bugged. And again, like I had spoken about to Dr. Jasmine, there is no such single point strategy for follow-ups as well. Every business has different kind of follow-up strategies. I used to work with a lot of international companies, and I used to work with a lot of people in Geneva, in Sweden for that matter, in Germany as well as US. They do not like constant follow-ups. They will wait. They will first start any project discussions 6 or 8 months in advance, and then they would want to wait for 15 days, 20 days till the time they have done their bit on it, right? So I knew that with them, my strategy to follow was 15 days apart or 20 days apart, right? Or for a lot of Indian companies, if you do not follow them earlier than, if you follow them 10 days later, they will tell you that, आप तो भूल गए हमको, आपको मन नहीं है काम करने का आपका, right? So this also happens all the time. So you will have to find a perfect balance. But I see that you are already very, very innovative with the way you are following up, whether it is a video or an audio. You need to also, you can also include a couple of more strategies. Sending out testimonials, that the kind of, if you are sending out something to them where you say that, the product which I'm trying to mention, which we are talking about, one of our customers also got benefited and I thought of sharing with you. Just then, about the follow-up is not about always asking whether you want to buy from me or not. The follow-up is also about keeping in front of them with regards to your visibility, right? So if you shared a testimonial with them that how one of my customers liked my product is a follow-up. The follow-up is also, if you like that customer's post on LinkedIn, it is also a follow-up because you are in front of that person also. That is not asking them to buy, but you are in front of them. You are leaving a good comment on them, good comment for them. All of these are methods of follow-up.
Perfect. This definitely I'm going to add this testimonials things is a very, very important thing, as you said this.
Also, Shad, Gagan, I'd like to add a few things here. I'll share with you what has worked for me. Sometimes I think we need to also follow the Pareto's principle here as well. So if every communication of yours is trying to sell to that guy, follow up on that sale, the guy will get irritated, you know. So figure out what is of interest. Like for example, Gagan said that, if there is a testimonial of another client, or probably something about you which has been mentioned online, or there's a PR piece that has come in, just share with him without asking him, have you thought about the product or not. Second is, try and find out about that person. Try and find out what are his interests. Sometimes sending something to that person which is of his interest allows you to become a human connect with him, rather than कि salesman का काम नहीं करना. He is another human being in your circle, that whenever the need arises, whenever he is ready, he will think about it. यार बताओ मेरे को, शायद वो last time तुम कुछ कह रहे थे, तो उसका मेरे को जरा एक बारी चेक करना, और I'm going to put you on with somebody in my office. So keep that connect live and don't push him to a point where he blocks you. And like for example, Gagan mentioned in his presentation today that what is it that you're sharing which is going to add value to his life? Something that he wishes to receive or wishes to continuously receive. If you're adding value, he will not block you. Or by the time, you can ask him that, after 4 or 5 value added conversations, you can say, by the way, have you thought about this? Or, would you want to reconsider this? Or then you send him a testimonial or something like that. So rather than being blatantly in the face, trying to sell him every time, he'll get irritated. That's my take and that's my experience.
Very valid points. Wonderful.
Any other questions anyone has? I think we're done with the questions. And I think, so Gagan, I'd like to thank you so much for taking out time. I think we've gone far beyond the time that you had scheduled for us. But I think it has been super useful to everyone. It has been super useful to me. And I'm sure it is super useful to everyone else as well. And so thank you so much for being here. And thank you everyone else also for joining us and taking out time. It has been why this conversation has been really nice is because they had brilliant questions coming up, which was very nice.
The conversation, and it's so nice that we could actually engage in some nice conversation post the session as well. And this is wonderful. And thank you so much again, Harbinder, for inviting me. I really enjoyed the session as well as interacting with all of you.
Thank you so much.